Disney has been acting really dumb recently, making movies nobody wants to watch, remakes and live actions everyone hates on for some reason, and not listening to their fans at all. And Wish is a prime example of that, or so I think. Cause today, I will be watching Wish and seeing if I was right for hating on it or not. Welcome to Tea Time with Ghost, a show where I drink tea and talk about my opinions even though nobody asks for them. I'm your host Ghost, and as you already know, I'll be talking about my opinions on Wish. Now let's get into the video. Okay, I just watched the movie and I have a lot to say, but first let's do a quick recap talking about the movie. Wish is a Disney movie about a girl named Asha who grew up in a place called Roses where magic happens. But only the king himself can use magic, as it's forbidden for anyone else to. And once you turn 18, you're able to give your wish to the king in hopes that one day it will be granted. But doing so causes you to forget your wish until it's granted or until you somehow get it back. Asha, our main character, wants to become the king's apprentice in hopes that in doing so, he will grant her grandfather's wish. But this doesn't happen because his wish to inspire people is quote-unquote too dangerous. And soon enough, Asha realizes the king isn't as great as he says he is. This is a big plot point in the movie, where the rest of the movie after this just focuses on defeating the king and returning everyone's wishes. It's your typical Disney princess movie plot. Nobody listens to the princess, she runs away, boom, magic stuff happens, she almost saves the day, fails, has a musical number, and boom, everything's great again. While I was watching the movie, I had a lot of mixed feelings. One thing that bothered me was the art style. I didn't like it, and as I said in my last video, it looked a bit unfinished. In some cases, the characters look off and even out of place in some scenes. The backgrounds will look so pretty, but then there's these under-rendered looking characters. It was only a few scenes that did that, and I was unable to take videos due to this movie only being out in theaters and not on any streaming platform like Disney Plus or something. But I did get one photo of these characters looking pretty weird in this scene. In this scene, the characters look really unfinished, more so than any other scene. The fact the art style is so weird is due to the fact they tried to put a 2D style on 3D characters, which obviously looks off. Take Scott Pilgrim for example, a new animated series. I haven't watched it, but I've seen edits due to its popularity, and just like Wish, its art style with the characters relies on flat colors with little to no rendering and only shading, aka stuff like shadows and light. And this art style looks fine, the only difference being that Scott Pilgrim is a 2D show, while Disney's Wish is 3D. It's not just with stuff outside of Disney. Lilo and Stitch for example, a Disney movie that focuses on flat colors and shading, and it's 2D, and the art, it looks great. The Lion King, a 2D movie that focuses on flat colors, no rendering, that also looks fine. Tarzan, a 2D movie with flat colors, no rendering, just like all the other movies and shows I mentioned, and it looks fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Then we have Disney's Wish, 3D, focuses on flat colors with little to no rendering, and looks off. And the main factor that makes it look the way it is because it's a 3D movie. If they did 2D, that would have been fine. It's what the people have been wanting, and if you just listened, you would have saved yourself some hate. But no, now you're in a situation where something that's supposed to be celebrating your 100th year of existing looks horrible. This movie has so much potential, and another thing that bothered me was the music. I talked about this in my last video as well, but I didn't listen to every song, I only listened to 2 of them. And I was right in my complaints about the song sounding off. My complaints in my previous video applies to every song, some sounding worse than others. The flow of the song sounds nice, everything sounds so good, and then the song matches a bunch of words together. It's either really long words or too many words, and it causes the song to sound off. And it angers me how all the songs have so much potential, and then it just goes downhill. In the song At All Cost, the king sounded weird at some points. I wouldn't expect such a nice and gentle song from his voice, but at other parts of this specific song, he didn't sound too bad. And it makes me mad how they took this song that was okay, it had its flaws, but it sounded fine, and make this his next song. I hate this song with a passion. This is the thanks I get. No, stop it. I hate you. Go in the trash. Every song has flaws in it, but there is no song I went, ooh, this is nice, without being disappointed shortly after. But throughout every bad song, there was one that stood out as the best, which was Knowing What I Know Now, which is one of the only songs I really enjoyed. Some lyrics did sound a little off. It had the same problem as every other song that I talked about, but it wasn't as bad as the others, so I liked it. I really have mixed feelings about everything going on in this movie. It's just a bunch of blandness with sparks of cool ideas that went nowhere, like the fact Asha was supposed to fall in love with a magical star boy, but that got scrapped, or the fact we would have seen our first evil Disney couple and that also got scrapped. Why are you getting rid of these amazing ideas? Nothing about this movie stands out. It's just there. It's just there. This is the movie that celebrates Disney's 100 years This pile of blandness and nothingness, and what sucks is that it has so much potential, but it just took that and threw it into the garbage. The movie wasn't horrible. I enjoyed some parts and actually did kind of like the king, but other than that, what can I really say about this movie that isn't something bad? The movie was too short and had less songs than any other Disney movie. For reference, Encanto had 44 songs and Frozen had 32, and that includes stuff with like background music and instrumentals. Wish has 12. What the heck? That includes instrumentals. They technically only have 7 songs in the movie. Other songs are just instrumentals and like the end credit song. And now that I'm looking, it makes a bit of sense since this movie is the shortest out of all of them. Not by that much, but still. But why not make it longer? I feel like this movie was a bit rushed. I wish they spent more time on a certain plot points like meeting the king. What if Asha did become his apprentice and we got to see more of the king as a person before we saw his true colors? What if we got a flashback to Asha and her father spending time together? Instead of the short amount of time, we see that same image of them sitting on a tree. Yes, it's emotional, loss is hard, but to really pull at your heartstrings, let us see Asha and her dad interact. Let us see a young Asha going up to her sick father and asking if everything's going to be okay, and her dad saying something like,
"Everything will be okay, just continue to look up at the stars. I'll be up there with them, and whenever you miss me, just keep your head up high towards the stars,"
or something like that. That would have made us feel for our main character. It's one thing to see and hear about how her father passed, but to see a little girl worrying about her sick father and her father trying hardest to comfort her is a whole nother thing that can make audience really feel for this character, really feel for this movie. Make us see the perspective of this character. Hearing is not enough. We need to see more scenes to know why she is the way she is. This movie feels like it would have been better as a show, or at least a few minutes longer. There's so many things they could have done to fix this movie, and they didn't do that, and I'm mad. I really would have loved to see the things that got cut out the movie, or some of my ideas that I just stated to be in the movie. I know it would have made it better, but instead we're stuck with what we got. Uninteresting characters, Asha is just your plain adorable Disney princess, an interesting story with interesting ideas that weren't executed well. I would have loved to see more of this world and see more backstory, but no, they just had to mess it up. Even the most simple plots can make a good story with good execution, and bad music. Do I need to talk about how horrible some of these were again? You get the point. Overall, in my opinion, Wish was pretty bland. It's just so simple. It feels like our main character was just going about her day, then went on a side quest to defeat the evil king, then continued on about her day, but now she has magic. It didn't feel like a compelling story that changed our main character in any way. In movies, we see our characters change and grow. What did Asha learn from this? Oh, the king was wrong and now everyone has their wishes back? Yay. Like, no, you didn't go through an emotional or difficult challenge. Anna almost died. Rapunzel almost lost the love of her life and lost her hair. Moana had to travel the seas on a mission her late grandmother sent her on, all with the fear of disappointing her family and letting down her people, who also don't approve of her wish to travel the seas. And Asha? Oh, she went on a little adventure, did a little dance and song, defeated the king, she got into a fight with her grandfather, but overall, her grandfather and her mother were supportive, friend was supportive, and for the most part, her other friends were too. Yeah, it's risky going against a magical, powerful king, but to the audience, it does not feel like that. I don't care if it's a kid's movie. Not every show should be like Cocomelon, that stuff messes you up. We need good stories, better than this. What is this? This movie, there's no reason to watch it. There's nothing memorable, and I'm probably just gonna forget everything soon, because it was just a jumble of bad songs and me being annoyed at how much wasted potential there is. This movie, it angers me. Let's just hope Disney doesn't ruin another movie.